Oh boy, man, here we go. This is it. We're starting all the conversations about free agents and their destinations, as well as what teams could be involved. And we have articles like this that can help us out in that respect. Let's go over onto the fourthperiod.com, because on David Pagnotta's website over here, there is indeed the updated top 30 UFAs list of 2022. Now, unfortunately, it says as of July 4th, 2021. Yeah, we kind of discussed this earlier on in the week, but that's not correct. This is actually updated as of now, not of a year ago. So, yeah, sorry, Dave, you're probably going to have to go out there and change your website. But the top two names on this list are as follows. It is Calgary Flames 100-point scorer and phenom Johnny Gadreau, as well as Nashville Predators forward Filip Forsberg. Both of these players are pretty good, and both of these players are going to be free agents, assuming they don't re-sign contracts with their teams within the next few hours, because I'm recording this audio on July 4th, 9:56 p.m., and it'll be uploaded about 12 hours from now? So if there's any contract extension done with Gadreau and or Forsberg in that little time frame, then hey, I apologize for that. But either way, these are the conversations that are brought up upon with Gadreau and Forsberg from the website. The Flames have a big 8-year offer on the table for Johnny Gadreau, believed to be worth about $9.5 million a season. They want to keep him in Calgary, but Gadreau hasn't committed yet. There is belief he wants to see what his options are while keeping the door open to return to Calgary. How realistic that is remains to be seen. You then have Filip Forsberg, who has a pretty similar write-up too. The Preds want to keep this guy and he wants to stay, but the dollars have to make sense. As the calendar flipped to early July, word started to get out that the two may be making progress on an 8-year extension. But with the free agent market opening soon, plenty of teams would love to try to pry him away from Nashville. His next contract should fall in between $8 million to $9 million per season. You can also see the 2022 cap hits for both of these players. Johnny Gadreau was making $6.75 million a year last season, and Forsberg was making $6. But I wanted to talk about some of the teams that are involved in both of these conversations here, because, of course, you have some of the teams that are in and out of other players' suitcases, like LA and the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Kraken, etc., etc. But there is one team that is indeed linked to both of these top two players, and it's a pretty interesting one at that. It's the New York Islanders. They are both linked to Gadreau and Forsberg, and if you go throughout this entire list, you can even see two more names that the Islanders are apparently involved with. It's Andre Palat of the Tampa Bay Lightning, as well as, guess what, Nino Niederreiter, whom they actually drafted all those years ago. But I wanted to focus on the top two guys here firstly, because when it comes to the way the the Islanders have progressed throughout the past few months, we've all kind of seen what happened in 2021, 2022. Even though the goaltending was pretty good, the rest of the Islanders lineup and the way these systems were played definitely was not at the same standard as had been set during the 2020 and 2021 conference finals appearances, both of which they lost to Tampa Bay. Now you have Barry Trotz, who has gotten the can, and Lane Lambert, who is taking over in a role that is probably going to see a lot more of an offensive system thrive on this team. Who knows what that type of system will do to the production levels of guys like Matthew Barzal, Anders Lee, Anthony Beauvillier, should he stick around. But if you really wanted to go out there and say, hey, we're the New York Islanders. We made the conference finals 2 years in a row, the past 3 seasons, and we have ourselves a boatload of cap space right now, $12 million, with only really Kiefer Bellows, Aho, Dobson, Chara, and Andy Green to re-sign. We have ourselves an opportunity to really just, send a few more dollars to Kiefer Bellows' way, sign Noah Dobson to a pretty reasonable contract, and use whatever savings we have left to go after a big fish free agent. Maybe it's Johnny Gadreau, maybe it's Filip Forsberg, maybe it's a guy that we can add to our top 6 and absolutely stack up our offensive potential under Lane Lambert. Palmieri, Pajot, Bailey, Nelson, Lee, Barzal, these guys are all pretty capable at playing some good hockey. It's just last season you saw the hiccups in the road that Trotz's system presented. Now, that's not really a negative on Trotz, it's just the fact that he actually did have himself a very good tenure of success with the Islanders. It's just the last season was not really the best showcase of that talent. And so now you say, hey, is our window still there? do we still have the potential to make it to a conference finals like we did in 2020 and 2021? I could definitely understand if you're going to go out there and say, hey, most of the core is relatively unchanged. You still have goaltending that is improving in Ilya Sorokin, and most of these players are not relatively old. I mean, Anders Lee is 32, okay, Brock Nelson is 30, Josh Bailey is 32, okay, but like Pajot is 29, Barzal is 25, Bavillier is still 25 as well. Maybe if you really wanted to solidify your chances at being that good, a Johnny Gaudreau might be what you need. But of course, it's not even just Johnny Gaudreau, it's also that Filip Forsberg, who is also coming off of such an extraordinary year. If you need a little bit of a refresher over here, let's go over these two and their individual statistics for 2021-2022. Johnny Gaudreau had 115 points in 82 games played this most recent season, 40 goals, 75 assists. When was the last time you saw somebody of his caliber actually enter the free agent market? Was it John Tavares all those years ago? Oops, sorry, I think I just opened the wound there. But either way, Johnny Gaudreau, demanding as much money as he could, is realistic, because the guy is a 100-point player. Even though he's only 5'7", he can still put the puck in the back of the net and set guys up like crazy. Meanwhile, you have Filip Forsberg, who also was crazy good this year. He had 84 points in only 69 games played, a very good amount of games played, which is on pace for 100 points in total as well. Funny enough, he actually had more goals than Johnny Gaudreau did. He had 42 goals in the entire 69-game campaign he had. If you do the math over 82 games, he was on pace for 50 goals as well. So, Filip Forsberg was legitimately a beast, and if there really is a financial concern here, that's the reason why he's not able to re-sign with Nashville just yet, is because they're kind of balancing out all the extra zeros and the extra dollars there. I feel like Forsberg has a much better opportunity for some other team to go out there and swoop in with a contract being like, hey, you wanted $9 million, but the Preds only gave you 8.5. Here's 9.25. Philip, take it and run. Come with our team. Join the Islanders. Play with Matty Barzal. And let's get back into the conference finals, shall we? I feel like that's a lot more of a realistic approach than Johnny Gaudreau and potentially forcing him to leave his team, because I feel like that entire departure is more so based off of his own preference, and if it's preference-based, I could totally understand if Gaudreau at the end of the day just says, okay, hey, I'm going to go to New Jersey because I grew up there, or I'm going to go to Philadelphia because I cheered for this team growing up. Nothing against you, Calgary. It's like, you guys are fine, I just wanted to play somewhere else. And we've already seen the idea that the Calgary Flames have pretty much offered an amount of money that no other team would be willing to match, because they have the 8th year that they can go to, and they also have that $9-ish million cap hit that they'd be willing to sacrifice for a player like Johnny Gaudreau. So there's a reason he's the number one player on the trade list, or not the trade list, the free agency list for a reason. It's because he had the most points. It's because he is the most valuable, I guess, player out of all these conversations, but it's also the fact that the Calgary Flames know that. The Calgary Flames know how important he is, and they want to keep him around. It's just going to really depend on his own preference. So, if you're an Islanders fan, talk in the comments your thoughts about the Filip Forsberg and Johnny Gaudreau arguments, whether or not your team is the right team for any of these players, should they hit free agency, and should they make their services available on the market. If they do make the free agency pool and teams start bidding for them, what is the max dollar amount you'd be willing to go to? Do you want to just shell out any extra dollars you have after re-signing Dobson and all your other players and just say, here, take the rest? Johnny Gaudreau, Filip Forsberg, it's all for you, because you are the final piece that we need to really make sure our window is still open so it can go on a run once again and prove to everybody that it wasn't just straight up Barry Trotz's system that allowed us to do as well as we did in the postseason all those years. It's also because our team is just pretty gosh darn good. Lane Lambert is known for running a more offensively oriented system, so if you were kind of worried about guys like Gadreau or Forsberg playing a super defensively styled game under Barry Trotz, you shouldn't be worried about that anymore, because Lane Lambert is here, and he's probably going to allow players that are offensively gifted like Gadreau and like Forsberg to flourish in those respects. So let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you're a Flames fan, a Predators fan, or an Islanders fan, all your thoughts about these ideas. Money, what is your opinion on the financial constraints of each of these conversations over here? Do you think Gaudreau resigns in Calgary or not? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.